First of all, we have to realize that living in the present moment, focusing your mind to the present moment is not a simple thing. It is very hard, but also it is an achievable target. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, Atitang nanvagameya nappati kanke anagata. You should not chase after the past. And also, you should not make too much expectations about the future. Supreme Buddha said, Yadati tang pahinantang appattancha anagata. What is past is left behind. It is gone. It is over now. Appattancha anagata. The future is yet to come. It hasn't reached yet. Buddha said, Pachupannancha yo dhammang tattha tattha vipassati. What you have to do is live in the present moment and see the present moment as it is. Right? Realize the present moment as it is. So it is very hard to focus your mind to the present moment. Our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us the nature of the mind is it always runs to the past. Normally, our mind has a habit to wander in the past, memories. Right? When we are alone, when we are solitude, and when we live in our life alone, lonely, normally, it is the nature, our mind runs to the past. It lives in the past memories, thinking about them. Sometimes you may regret about them. Sometimes you may be happy about them. Sometimes you may cry about them. Right? So that is the nature of our mind. It is always wandering in the past. And also sometimes our mind try to make expectations, too much expectations about the future. Right? People dream too much about their future, but they do not work for the dreams to come true. So our great teacher Supreme Buddha taught us, you should not let your mind to wander in the past, as well as you should not let your mind to go for the future and make too much expectations about that. What you have to do is, you have to work in the present moment to make your future better, as well as to make your past better. Because when you live correctly in the present moment, right, your past will be a good one because you have lived in the correct way. And also, if you are sure that you are living correctly in the right way in the present moment, your future will be also a good one because you are doing the right thing right now. So, you need to have a good practice to focus your mind to the present moment. So it should be practiced by meditation, as well as it should be practiced in the practical world, in your life. So I will teach you some tricks or things that you should practice in your life to be in the present moment, right? So, when you have a free time, right, dedicate yourself to live in the present moment for a little time. During the day, when you have the free time, allocate your time about 5 minutes to live in the present moment. Sit on a chair, you can close your eyes and just experience that you are in your present. You are not in your past, you are not in your future, always you are in your present. That is the reality, right? The past has gone, as well as the future hasn't come yet, right? So, close your eyes and just try to focus your mind to the present moment. Try to think about what you feel, what you hear, and what you think about, all the things that you experience now will fade away to the past, and it will go into the arena of past, right? So take your time in the day and practice this. The best way to focus your mind to the present moment is the breathing meditation. Breathing meditation is one of the best meditations that you can bring your mind from the arena of past and the future to the present moment. Because the breath, when you're focusing on your breath, right, always the breath arises and it goes down. So this breath prevails in the present. So when you focus your mind to the breath, then your mind is always in the present moment. And also, you have to practice to live in the present moment in your practical life, in your day-to-day life. So how to do that? So it is very beneficial to live in the present when you are in the hard times, when you are going through a problem. Now suppose if a person comes to you and started blaming you. Now when he is blaming, you hear that sound, the words, right? When we think about these words, right? When he is blaming, you hear that, and after that very moment, it has gone to the arena of past. Those words are not prevailing anymore, right? But our mind does not like to think that. Our mind clings to those words, right? Our mind tries to hold on to those words, and what our mind does is it always make a loop-like thing to bring back all those thoughts, all those words again and again to our mind, and that is why we are suffering. That is why we feel hurt, right? If we can realize the reality that all these words that I heard has gone to the past, they are no longer here anymore, they are vanished, then you don't want to suffer for anything, right? Because it has gone to the past. You cannot do anything about that. But our mind is not ready for that, right? Our mind tries to cling to those words, right? So what you have to do, when someone blames you, when you are going through a hard time, realize that all those things are impermanent, and it vanishes very quickly from my life. So I don't want to worry about them, right? So if you are living in the present moment correctly, doing the correct thing, doing the right thing, doing good things, you don't want to worry about the past, as well as you don't want to worry about the future. Of course, you can make the plans for the future, no problem, but do not dream too much about it. Because the more we dream, it is like we are stopping our vehicle and just looking towards the road without driving, right? The more we dream, we feel jealous about the achievers who achieve our goals, right? So it is like you are stopping your vehicle on the road and looking at the vehicles that pass by. You are not driving, right? You can make your plans, you can make your goals, but do not dream too much about it. Just start working for it, right? So the dream becomes a goal when you are working on it only. So if you can live in the present, doing the correct thing, doing what should be done now, you don't want to worry about the past, as well as you don't want to worry about the future. So in that way, you will have a life without regret and without worrying about the future and the past, and live your life in the present moment and be happy by your life. Namo Buddhaya, Theruvan Saranai. Namo Buddhaya. Welcome to another video. In today's video, let's talk about how to control these emotions of anger. Well, anger itself is a natural human emotion. We all feel angry. But if we do not know how to control this emotion, if we do not know how to deal with anger, sometimes it can be destructive. And if we let that anger to control over our life, we will get into lots of troubles. So, today, I'm going to introduce you a little practice that you can practice in your practical life to deal with this emotion. Well, first of all, I have to remember none of these practices are easy. In fact, nothing in life that brings us the happiness, that brings the peacefulness to your life is not an easy task. It is a difficult one. Though it is difficult, we cannot abandon it because we like to be happy and we like to be peaceful in our life. So that is why Buddha said that everything that brings the happiness to your life is a difficult task. So what are the things that we can do to deal with these emotions of anger? Well, the first and the foremost thing that you can do to deal with these emotions is to acknowledge that your thoughts are in anger. If you don't know your thoughts are in anger, you cannot deal with it. So this includes the mindfulness, right? Whenever you are about to get angry, whenever you feel that you are triggered by this anger, just ask this question: what am I thinking now? In which mode my thoughts are in now, right? Whenever you ask that question and whenever you answer it, you can find, oh, I'm about to get angry now. Now my thoughts are in anger. That is the first step, to know that you are angry. Then it comes to the second step, right? So in this second step, if you look at this, if I ask a question from you, whenever you feel angry, imagine a situation that you have felt angry about something or someone, right? How your breathing pattern works. How our breathing pattern changes when we feel angry. It speeds up and we take short breaths, right? So that gives the sign to our body, that gives the message to our body that now you're ready for getting angry. We are breathing heavily, we are breathing in short periods, and we are breathing speedily. So the first thing that you can do is to slow down your breathing pattern. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Take another deep breath in and let it out. Slowing down the breathing pattern will help you to calm your body and calm your mind, right? Whenever we feel calm and when we are about to take a rest, what is the thing that we do? For an example, after a long day of work, when you come home and after having a good shower, if you fell on the couch, right? If you fell on the bed, what is the first thing that you do? You take a deep breath in and let it out. That is the thing that you do. That means you are giving the signal to your body that you are about to get calm or to have a rest. So the thing that we have to do, whenever we feel angry, whenever we feel we panicked, just give the message to your body that be calm by taking 2 to 3 deep breaths in and out, right? So breathing can help you a lot. Then as the third step, now you're a little bit peaceful and calming. Now you can wisely reflect on your thought pattern. When you reflect about your thoughts, you can find, why did I become angry with this person? What is that? Then you can find that anger does not prevail in an outer world, in that person or that thing, specific thing. Anger prevails in my mind, right? It is something that I have created. Whenever you come to a situation that you are triggered to be angry, you come up with these two choices, either to react with negativity or to respond with positivity. That is up to you. right? And your experiences and your good and bad experiences depends on these choices that you make. So you totally have the power and you totally have the privilege to respond with positivity, right? So you have to believe in patience for that. Remember, there is nothing in this world, there is no problem in this world that has been solved with anger. That is why Buddha said, anger does not cease by anger, or hatred does not cease by hatred. Hatred is ceased by love and kindness only. So you have to believe in patience and compassion and forgiveness. That is the way that you are going to solve the problem, right? Though you react in anger, though you yell out or scream or take actions with anger, that is not going to help. That is not going to solve the problem. It will make the problem even more worse. I have seen lots of people who could not control their anger for a split second. Just because they could not control their anger for a split second, now they are regretting for their whole life. So remember, anger is not going to help you. So when you believe in patience and kindness and compassion, you will have this strength to face that situation more positively. Remember what Buddha said. The Buddha said, before you do something from your body, from your speech, or from your mind, just wisely reflect that what I'm going to do, is this worthy of doing? Is it bringing happiness to myself, or is it bringing happiness to others? Is it going to hurt others, or is it going to hurt myself? If it is hurting you and if it is hurting to other self, do not try to do it. Remember, it is okay that we feel angry sometimes in our mind, but it is not okay to let that anger to flow out from our bodily actions and our words, right? So remember, this is how we can control it. Always believe in patience and kindness. That is where you're gonna solve the problems. So this is a little practice where we can deal with these emotions of anger. So practice these practices little by little and make your life a peaceful one. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to share with you 4 signs that you're having a toxic friendship. Now, before we discuss about these things, I have to mention and I have to say that the sole purpose of this discussion is not to attack on someone's personal life, not to criticize someone or not to judge someone, but to understand that mistakes can happen from everyone. We make mistakes, you all make mistakes, but we have to be wise when we deal with people, because the most important thing in our life is the peacefulness in our mind and the mental health. So with that in your mind, let's dive into today's video. So the first sign of a toxic relationship is they are only willing to take something from you, but they are not willing to give anything, right? Remember, when it is a friendship or if it is a relationship, it must be a give and take process. That means when you give something, they must give something back. Okay? When relationships and friendships become a one-way road, it is very painful. That is why when you spot such a friend, the first thing that you have to do is do not be too quick to judge them. Because sometimes people are going through tough times in their life, right? Sometimes they are suffering personally. They're not in a good condition to help you. So what you have to do is, you have to look for the person behind the actions. You have to look for the intention behind their words. Okay? So if you really found such a sign in your friendship, what you have to do is set your boundaries. Okay? Limit your boundaries. And you have to decide whether I'm going to let this person to enter to my life or whether I'm not going to let him enter to my life. So keep that in your mind. That is the first sign. Then let's move to the second sign. The second sign is they only talk, but they are not willing to help you in actions. Okay? This is a friendship that is based only on words. Okay? They will praise you and they will be nice to you, right? They will say and they will give you promises to you, but only with the words, but not with actions. Remember, actions speak louder than words. So if it is a friendship, you must be a friend from your words as well as from your actions. Okay? That is the second sign. They only talk, but they are not willing to help you with actions. Moving on to the third sign, we have flattering friends. Flattering friends are the people who talk nice things about you in front of you. They will praise you, they will compliment you, but they are not afraid to put you down behind your back. Okay? You have to be very careful when you deal with such people. We should not hate anyone. We should not be angry with these people. What you have to do is you have to understand about the nature of people, nature of the intentions of the people, and forgive them, right? Forgive them and use your wisdom to stay away from their negativity. And that is the real meaning of kindness, to forgive someone and to stay away from people's negativity. So when you spot flattering friends, it's okay to be with them, it's okay to talk with them, but you have to be wise when you deal with such people. And finally, we have evil helpers. Evil helpers are the people who helps you in doing bad things. That means when you're about to do a bad thing, or when you're about to do a thing that is not good for your life and for your mental health, they will help you in doing it. Right? They will feel your anger. They will feel your jealousy. Okay? They will help you in doing bad things that brings the regret to your life. Right? So you should be very careful and you should stay away from these people. So these are the 4 signs that you're having a toxic friendship. Now, why should we become so much aware of these friends and these signs? Because, do you know, our characters shaped by the people who we associate, right? There's a saying, it says, you are the average of 5 people that you are associating closely. That means we become who we associate. Therefore, surround yourself with positive people and the people who can uplift you and support you. And finally, remember that you deserve positive and healthy friendships that supports your life and your personal growth. Keep it in your mind. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. No matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, there are certain times in life we are going to make mistakes. We are going to mess things up in life. In such times, one of the most common things that we do is we hate ourselves. And this self-hatred can end up in serious situations like suicide. See how many times we say, I love you to someone. How often we say, we say it often, right? But how often we say, I love myself. I appreciate who I am. This is something that we don't do oftenly. See, in Buddhist practice, the first step of spreading love and kindness is to practice love and kindness or spread love and kindness to yourself. So the Buddha saw that without being filled with self-love and self-kindness, you cannot be kind to someone else. So that is why we have to learn how to be kind and how to love ourselves without hating ourselves. So from this video, I'm going to be sharing with you few things that we have to understand and we have to practice to stop hating ourselves and to start appreciating and loving our life. Number 1, do not believe in labels. See, there are lots of labels that we have put on ourselves. For an example, your name. Your name is a label that was given by maybe your parents, and everyone start to call from that name, and it became your personality. It became who you are. Okay? Same like that, we are so good at labeling ourselves with our imperfections, with our mistakes, or with our incapabilities. But here's the thing, the more we label ourselves with our incapabilities, for an example, people say to themselves like, I am a person who is being angry all the time. Okay, I'm a person who has having a weak mindset. I'm a person who is lazy all the time. Okay, I don't have any friends. I'm not getting in with friends. Okay, I cannot be with these people. So the more you label like that yourself, it becomes your personality. And that is why we should not believe in the labels that we put on ourselves. Why? Because a label or your incapabilities or your weaknesses or your mistakes are just a thought pattern. And it is always can be changed. Okay? You can always improve. And that is why we should not label ourselves with our incapabilities and our mistakes or from our weaknesses. We always have the chance to improve and to evolve. Number 2, learn to accept mistakes. Mistakes are the proof that says that we are trying in life and we are not willing to give up on ourselves. Every great person in this world has made mistakes, and they have learned from their mistakes, and that is how they evolved, and that is how they achieved the greatness. Always remember, the mistakes will never define your character unless you define your character with your mistakes. So do not let your mistakes to define your character. Always you have the chance to improve and move on and make yourself a good person and improve yourself. Believe in it. Number 3, stop criticism. This is something that is very important that we have to focus on in loving ourselves. Stop criticizing yourself. Stop criticizing others. Now here I'm not talking about the constructive criticism. I'm talking about the negative criticism. Okay? Do not criticize others and also do not criticize yourself. Okay? Why we should not criticize others? To put others down? In each and every time when we criticize someone, we give the message to our mind that we are better than them. Okay, I am perfect than them. And you set standards to yourself. Most of the time, these are not realistic standards. Okay, and when we cannot live up to our own standards, what happens to us? We hate ourselves. And that is how criticism steals the self-love and the self-value. And that is why we should not criticize anyone. And number 4, believe that imperfection is beautiful. Just take a deep breath and look into this nature. Everything has that one nature that is the imperfection. From the little plant to the great mountain, everything is imperfect. Right? There is no perfectly symmetrical plant in this world. There is no perfectly symmetrical mountain in this world. Everything has the imperfection. And as humans, we also imperfect human beings. Okay? And also it gives the chance for us to evolve. It gives the chance for us to be more productive and be more successful. See, becoming successful and becoming happy is not a destination. It is not a perfection, right? It is always a journey. We have to keep improving ourselves. We have to keep becoming successful, becoming happy. It is a journey that we go through in this life. So when you accept the imperfections, no matter how good we are, no matter how talented we are, no matter how great we are, there will be always imperfections in life. When we accept it, we can focus our kindness and our love towards ourselves. And also, every single day, this is something that you can practice. When you wake up in the morning, just sit on the bed and think, no matter how imperfect I am, no matter what mistake that I do in my life, I'm not going to give up on myself. right? I keep improving myself. I keep making myself a good person, a happier person, and I will never let go of myself. This is not something that is called selfishness. Selfishness is expecting many unrealistic things from yourself, right? And then when you're not up to your standards, you start to hate yourself. And that is why when you truly love yourself, truly love your imperfections, and truly love who you are and accept who you are, you get the chance to improve and you get the chance to evolve. And these are the things that we have to keep in mind in order to practice the self-love and improve the self-value. So keep practicing these things and make your life happier and healthier. Namo Buddhaya. Namo Buddhaya. A couple of days ago, when I was reading the Dhammapada, I came across this wonderful verse from the Buddha. This is from Dhammapada, verse number 290. The Buddha says, "If by renouncing a lesser happiness, one may realize a greater happiness, let the wise man renounce the lesser, having regard for the greater." Now this simply says, if you seek a greater happiness in your life, you need to be brave enough to let go of the lesser or the cheaper happinesses in life. Now this made me thinking this can be applied to any area of our life. Whether you are a student who is studying to achieve a greater happiness or a greater achievement in your education life, there are certain things that keeps you away from that achieving it. Sometimes those things can be some pleasurable things, like watching movies, like scrolling on social media. But when it comes to it, like superficially, when we look at it, in the beginning, it's very enjoyable. It has its own entertainment. But the problem is it takes the valuable time from us. It steals the valuable time from us so that we waste time for a cheaper happiness. And what we miss is a greater happiness in the future that is yet to come. So the Buddha says, if you seek a greater happiness in life, you need to be brave enough to let go of the cheaper happinesses that keeps you away from achieving that greater happiness. Now this is applicable for the monk's life as well. This is why we become monks, right? As monks, we show that we need to seek a greater happiness in life, because as humans, what we seek in life is always happiness. But for a monk, he thinks that I need to achieve something greater than the normal happiness, right? A peace that is beyond from the normal peace in the world that we talk about. But to do that, we realize that it is not possible, or it is really, really difficult to be with the other cheaper happinesses in life, so that we need to let go of them to seek something greater. And that is what even the Buddha did, right? So many people complain that why Gautama, the Siddhartha Gautama, let go of the lay life or the material life. Why did he ran away from the life so that he become a monk? It's not about that he ran away from the responsibilities. It's about he understood that one cannot achieve the greater liberation in life or the greater peace in life, which is nirvana, by staying in this household life. So that he let go of that household life and became a monk. And he started to seek the spiritual path, and he found the nirvana, and he found the liberation. And also, he didn't stop from that. He came back to the palace and he helped everyone who was in the palace in his life to achieve the same state of peace. So that if one seeks a greater happiness in life, right, we need to be brave enough to let go of that cheaper happinesses that we are being busy and that steals our time in our life, right? Sometimes it can be a toxic habit that you have, right? For an example, in a toxic habit, it is really, really easy and it is really, really enjoyable in the beginning, but it makes your life so much difficult after. And that is why they say that if you do what is easy today, your life will be difficult tomorrow. And if you do what is difficult today, your life will be easy tomorrow. And that is how the world works, right? For a toxic habit, it is very easy to do, but it makes our life so much difficult. But for a good habit, it is really, really difficult to practice, and it is really, really difficult to make it a habit, but it makes our life so much easier after. Okay, it can be applied to any area of your life. Like, let's talk about the spiritual life. Okay, usually when we become monks, it was really difficult to be disciplined, right? Once you become a monk, you have, first of all, you become a novice monk, and you have 10 disciplines to practice, right? And after staying as a novice monk, you become a higher ordained monk, and then you get, suddenly your precepts and your disciplines reach up to 227 disciplines. And it was really, really difficult to be disciplined. But once you learn, once you practice, once you dedicate your time and energy to be disciplined, it makes your life so much easier. And after some time, you realize that all these disciplines are made for your life to make it easier and make it so much free and make your life so much independent. Okay, so that is why we should believe that we should attain the freedom through discipline, right? Through hard work. So now take a look at your life. What are the things that keeps you away from achieving the greater achievements in your life or greater happinesses in your life? And be brave enough to say no to them, right? When you say no to them, it buys you so much more time that you can focus on what really, really matters. So keep this little advice in your mind, and let's meet with another video. Namo Buddhaya. The Buddha once said, "He who sits alone, lies down alone, walks alone, in diligent practice, and alone tames himself, should find delight in living in the forest." Living alone, being alone, can be scary for many people these days. Oftenly, our society portrays a successful life, a happier life, a good life, as a life where it is surrounded by people, surrounded by things. But there's a reason why almost all the spiritual practices, almost all the spiritual pathways praise and promote this living alone, life in the place of a solitude practice, a solitude life. And that is why almost all the religious leaders had to solitude themselves from these hassles and bustles of this society and go to these quiet places and find the liberation and find what they were looking for. Same went with the Supreme Buddha. Before he became the Buddha, he was a prince. He was living in a palace. He was indulging himself with this sensual pleasure. And then he understood, indulging in this sensual pleasure doesn't help me to find what I'm looking for. So what he did was he left the palace and he went from one forest to another, meditating, finding this peace, this ultimate peace, right? So living alone can be a blessing. It is a blessing when it is converted to a blessing, right? But living alone can be a curse as well for many people. That is why people, most of the time, they are scary. They are afraid of living alone, right? Most of the time, people come to me and say, I'm lonely, I'm living alone, I'm living by myself, but I feel so much lonely, so much negative thoughts coming into my mind. What should I do? That is what happens when you turn this loneliness into a curse. Trust me, it all depends on how you think and how you use this time. I will tell you a story. Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha, left the palace and he went to a forest. Although he went to a forest, there were 5 monks who was waiting for him to come to the forest. There were 5 monks who were helping Prince Siddhartha, the Buddha, with the meditation before his awakening. And then these 5 monks had this idea that only way to find the liberation is by giving this tortures and doing these hard meditations and harsh meditations and extreme meditations. So we call it Atta Kilamatthana Yoga, which we can translate into English as self-mortification, right? Now, Prince Siddhartha left one extreme when he left the palace. That extreme is, the Buddha described this as the extreme of sensual pleasures, indulging in the sensual pleasures. That was one extreme. And then Prince Siddhartha came to the other extreme, where he practiced this self-mortification, giving these extreme and harsh meditations to the body. And then those 5 monks, they believed that this is the only way for the liberation. So Prince Siddhartha was practicing these meditations for 6 years. And finally he understood, this extreme, being in this extreme, doesn't help me either. So then he found the middle path, the middle way. And that is to live a spiritual life by balancing his material and spiritual life both, right? And that is why after that decision, he decided to take some food to his body. After a long time he had taken some food to his body, he grabbed his alms bowl and went on begging alms and find some food and had it. Now all those 5 monks had a lot of expectations on Prince Siddhartha. And then they saw this incident, and then they became disappointed. They said, "Oh, what a disappointment. We believed him. We had a lot of expectations on him. But look what now happened. He's taking food. Maybe soon he will go back to his palace and he will live a normal life again. So the best decision is to leave him." So what happened? All these 5 monks left Prince Siddhartha. And after this alms round, he came back to the forest, and he saw everyone had left. No one was there. Prince Siddhartha was alone. Then he found this perfect environment, perfect place to be focused more into himself. That was because he was all alone, right? He got the opportunity to be by himself, right? Focus more into himself. And one day, he sat under the Bodhi tree and he became awakened. He became enlightened, right? So this solitude, when it is turned to, when it is used in the correct way, it can be a blessing for you, right? And the same solitude can be turned into a curse as well, right? Most of the people, they complain me about the loneliness. I always say to them, when you're lonely, your thought process generates a certain energy within you, right? And that can be negative. Now let's say you are in this negative energy environment and a negative energy thought process. You all know in science we learn about, according to science, it says that energy cannot be produced or destroyed. Now you have your energy within you, but it is negative, right? Now you can't destroy this negative energy, right? What we are trying in this whole life is to destroy this negative energy. Well, we can't do that. The only thing that we can do is to convert this negative energy, drive this negative energy to something positive, right? So how can we drive this loneliness, this energy to something positive? One of the biggest reasons why people feel lonely is because they lack an aim, a goal to their life. If they have a goal and aim that they should work on, if they have a system that they should work on, then they don't feel that much lonely because they have something to do. They have something to engage with it, right? So this can go either. People can have either material goals or spiritual goals, but everyone must have these spiritual goals within themselves, no matter what life they are coming from, right? Because finally, there will be a time that we There will be a time in all of our lives that we come to this lonely place. One day we have to be by ourselves with no one else around us, right? At that time, if we don't have any quality, any spiritual quality that we have practiced within us, we'll start feeling lonely again and again. And it will start to build up this negative energy within us. Okay? And sometimes we can be too late for that, to make it correct. So the best thing is to learn how to convert this negative energy to something positive, right? To do that, you have to have a goal and an aim for yourself, to yourself. Always ask from yourself, what should I do in my life? Who should I become in my life? What should I build up? What qualities should I work on in my life? If you found, we will always find some qualities that we should work on, right? Some mistakes that we have, some weaknesses within us. If we can work on those weaknesses and make it correct, that time will help you to be more successful, more productive, right? More happy and a more peaceful person. But to do that, what do you need? You need time, right? You need time to be focused on yourself. And what gives you the best time to be focused on yourself is the time when you are all alone, right? And that is why I always say for people, have a time during the day only for yourself, a separate time. Probably people call it me time. Okay, that's a good thing. Having a me time for yourself during the day is essential. Okay, so I would say as a practical thing, apply it to your life. That is to have a separate, at least 15 minutes. It's okay, no matter how much you spend the time, but if it is for yourself, that is helpful, right? At least spend a 15 minutes of time, right? Sitting down, being by yourself, all alone, right? Not with your mobile phones, not with your Netflix account, not with your movies or anything. Just be by yourself, right? And then learn how to be with your own thoughts, right? Then only we can be more focused to ourselves, right? So I hope you got some idea about how to convert this loneliness into the solitude. So apply this little practice to your life and enjoy the solitude in your life. Namo Buddhaya.